Welcome to the Success Revenue Podcast, the only podcast in the Middle East that brings you leaders in customer success, account management, sales, and go to market to share ideas, perspectives, and valuable learnings on how to successfully drive revenue, delight customers, and take it to the next level.
We are your hosts. I'm Haidar Saad, the CEO and founder of RevSetter, the modern customer management platform. And with me, I have my amazing co-host, Ivy Ferrero, CS executive, keynote speaker, and advisor. And we're excited to bring you a long list of amazing guests this season of the Success Revenue podcast. Today, we have a really exciting guest. I'm very excited for this conversation where we'll dig into a lot of different things with today's guest. Who is she? And I say that because we got one of our takeaways. I'll mention this. We're going to talk about how being a mother and an executive and growing your career can really work hand in hand, and some of the learnings that you can take from that. We'll dig into how to drive really great customer success across multiple countries and regions in the Middle East and beyond. And we're also going to talk about how you scale a high-performing team, how you leverage relationships and empathy in that process. Ivy, we're going to get into a lot of fun conversations with today's guest, which I'm super excited about, and really curious to hear her thoughts on a lot of these different topics. But how you been, Ivy?
I've been really good. I've been really good. I've been busy with all the side projects that we have. But yeah,
Yes.
it's been really good. The weather has been incredible in Dubai, so I cannot complain. How about you?
Weather, yes, same thing. Weather's been great. So a lot of family time during the weekend, which has been really nice. But overall, same thing. Super busy. Traveling, Riyadh, back, meetings, going to Cairo after Ramadan for meetings, and just same, extremely busy. It's really fun though, meeting so many people across the region in different countries, and you really get a lot of energy from it, I would say, Ivy, and you really get inspired to be in the region and continue kind of fostering that community and helping drive things across the board. So a lot of work, but each kind of meeting interaction is just giving more and more energy to continue building up the community here, and all the different, like you said, side projects that we're working on. I'm super excited about as well.
No, incredible. And Heather, I wanted to ask you, I know you have somebody from your team who is out of town from
Yeah.
the US. All of these meetings that you've been running with him, are they mostly being run in English, or do you still spin a little bit of Arabic in them?
Yeah, for sure. It's a good question. Yeah, so one of my team members, our global head of commercial, he's visiting the region from LA. So American coming into the Middle East, spent time in Saudi, now in Dubai, and he's first of all he's just loving it. He loves the food, the culture, the people. Everyone's been so nice. So that's like one of the biggest thing. He's just really enjoying being here, which has been really fun. And then for the meetings, it's been we're doing them in English. The ones that we do together, we'll do them in English. Typically, I always start off a little with Arabic, right? We'll kind of do some pleasantries and greetings, and then we'll switch over to English, obviously, to make sure that he can get into the conversation properly. And I think people are really open to it. Like, I think sometimes you would imagine they might be uncomfortable with the English, or they just want to prefer speaking Arabic because we're doing business here. But everyone's super friendly, and everyone is very open to doing business in English. Well, that's obviously in Dubai. It's kind of almost the preferred language of doing business, I've noticed. But also in Saudi, where Arabic is kind of the default, where you meet people initially. But everyone is speaks English well, and are happy to conduct any meetings in English also.
Oh,
So that actually hasn't been a problem. And I think he's been surprised about, especially in Saudi and Riyadh, about how friendly people were, how good the food was, how good the meetings and the interactions have been there. So It's been all positive, if you ask him, for sure.
Ah, so great. Yeah, I've heard the food in Saudi is amazing. I've heard there's some incredible restaurants there.
Yes, yes. We got a couple of recommendations from some locals last time, and yeah, it was top notch. It was so good. Like this is great. So yeah, on my Riyadh trips here now, I need to continue exploring the different restaurants and areas of the town here in between all the meetings and the work that's being done. But the food is
Yeah.
definitely great there, which is in Dubai as well, though. So we're in a good spot in the world for food, I would say.
Yes, yes. I'm a foodie. I'm a foodie.
So,
um,
same here.
and the
Awesome.
interesting thing, Heather, is that I didn't know that with different with people that spoke Arabic, there's so many different dialects, meaning that Egyptians, the way they talk is different and whatnot. In today's case, she is Lebanese. I'm a huge fan of Lebanese people, and so I'm so excited to connect with her. I believe this is the first Lebanese person that we have in the podcast.
I
Um,
think so. Yes.
yeah. So, with no further delay, should we bring her in?
Yes, let's do it. I'm excited for it. Let's get it in here and get started.
I am so excited to introduce you today to our guest, Karen Choucair. It is pronounced Choucair, and it is very fitting because she also loves shoes. Karen's incredible journey from junior media planner to leadership in Texas sales has expanded for over 15 years. But truly, what makes Karen very special is her genuine connection with people. She draws energy from understanding what drives people and creating spaces where authentic conversations happens. Where she's not crushing sales targets or leading teams, she's an incredible mother and also a wife. Welcome, Karen. I am so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for carving some time out of your incredible busy day. I know you just had a baby like 5 months ago, so congratulations.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Hi there. Thank you so much for
Uh,
having me today.
yeah,
uh,
welcome.
Karen, so why don't you just begin by telling us a little bit more about your life story? When did you arrive from Dubai to Dubai? Where are you from? And how did you kind of like ended up in customer success?
Yeah, sure thing. Funny enough, I do love shows, as you mentioned. I try to start by that because I somehow understand that my last name might be pronounced a bit in a difficult way. So it's Choucair. You pronounce it really well. I'm originally Lebanese. I've been living in Dubai for a bit less than 20 years, so I consider it home away from home. Yes, I'm married for 10 years and 10 years this week, actually. And I have two boys. When I moved first to Dubai, I started my career at media agencies. And I was first with, two big reputable media agencies handling multinational clients. I've always had a client facing role. And then uh, I can say that I've witnessed firsthand the impact of technology into our lifestyle, into our, day to day sort of work, day to day life. And it was an intentional move for me to sort of consider like, I wanted intentionally to move to technology. And this is how my customer success experience began. I had an opportunity with Amplify, which was previously known as Social Baker. The opportunity was for me to be a customer success manager. And then, after achieving and hitting my target, I got promoted to leading that team.
Wow, incredible. I've always heard that Lebanese people are very, very intelligent and that they're very, very good at having roles like customer facing because they're so incredible at sales. And I'm so excited to have you on the show. I think you're the first Lebanese person that we have here. I love you guys because you guys are super resilient. Ka-
Thank you.
Karen, with all the time that you have spent in Dubai, you of course have seen the evolution of different industries that you've been part of. I wanted to ask you, with the extensive experience that you have managing like the Middle East region, what would you say are some of like the unique challenges and opportunities you see for customer success professionals in comparison to other global markets?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Ivy. This region is a bit special, I can say. I've being in the my previous role, I was also exposed to global markets, given that I had to handle global clients, and I could tell that there's a the difference here is how you build relationships. So if you want to talk a bit about it's a challenge, but it's also an opportunity if you know how to do it well. No matter how well you know the product, or no matter how how good of a technical person, let's say, you are, if you cannot build trust, and if you cannot build strong relationships with your clients or the people that you're talking to, and by doing that, mainly it's demonstrating value, understanding their needs, understanding their objectives, and try to marry it with whatever, or try and present to them, support them meeting their goals. um, Trust won't be built. So that's something that um, and to build trust, I mean building strong relationships. So that's a main key here in this region, especially if we're looking at, the two main booming markets, UAE and KSA.
Wow, I love that, Karen. And we've been hearing a lot about this, and also, Hader, he arrived to Dubai about like maybe 6 months ago. I've been here only for 1 year and a half, and this is definitely something that I've noticed is that it does take time to create relationships and to build that trust. Versus in America, people are okay with meeting up and having a business discussion. Here, it just takes much more longer, so it's interesting for the companies that are looking to penetrate the market, for them to know this.
Yeah, no, I agree with that definitely as well. And it's interesting because as you're talking, I'm kind of thinking about almost every conversation I've had with someone in the region has been about how important trust, relationship building, all these things are to really succeed here as a business, as an individual. So it really resonates, and I hear it over and over again. So it's really cool that you're kind of seeing the same thing as someone who's been here for a long time and kind of consider this, like you said, as a second home, and where you could build up your career over many, many years. So that's super interesting, Karen. And I think one thing I was kind of curious about, given your long experience here in the region and just living here, but also in particular working for a very long time, how have you seen? You kind of spoke about where customer success is today, and some of the main kind of traits of that. But how have you seen that evolving over time, right? Over 5 years ago, 2 years, and to today, how's that evolution kind of shifted things?
Oh, yeah. With how fast technology is moving, and I mean, AI is a buzzword right now, and I can't but mention it in this podcast.
Of course,
I
I have to get in there.
I really feel that customer success is going to evolve, is going to be a bit, let's just say, more personalized with the introduction of AI. So those in customer success, if they equip themselves properly, if they understand how to make the most out of AI, how to outreach their clients properly. So there are various aspects of it. With AI, with deployment of AI, you can sort of understand certain pattern through the data that you have. You can mitigate risk ahead of time. You can find out, let's just say, a certain behavior, a certain, gaps that you can pinpoint. And then you can tailor make your message. You can personalize it. You can, sort of save, let's just say, the most out of the book of business that you have.
Yeah, no, that's definitely interesting. I think it's hard to avoid talking about AI when it
Yeah.
comes to everything that we're doing today in technology and customer success and beyond. So yeah, I would have been surprised if we got through a conversation without talking about AI a few times at least. So that's totally fair there. And can I just ask you, just from a individual perspective, I'm always curious to think about this as we speak to different leaders. What is it that really fascinates you with customer success, right? It's a profession that's really growing in the Middle East, right? If you look at Europe and the US, it's really big. It's kind of established, ton of people in that space, ton of roles and things like that. And the Middle East is still really evolving and growing across different markets. I think the UAE is ahead of the curve there in terms of customer success. But to be in it for some time, like you have been, to be in a leadership position, what's that you really love about it? What fascinates you with customer success?
I'm a strong believer in relationships. Whether it's at in my day-to-day life or at work
Yeah.
as well. What fascinates me is that no matter how strong the technology is, no matter how well you're going to deploy AI, the point that I was talking about earlier, um, customer success is at the core of customer success is the human touch. So what fascinates me is that no matter how the technology is going to advance, there should always be someone there that a customer success manager supporting the clients, understanding their needs, and of course that person will work in a smarter way with AI. So I don't see AI, for example, replacing I mean, that's my humble opinion, replacing a customer success manager. They might equip them with the right tools, with the right information. They might allow them to work smarter, but definitely, or at least in this region, that's what I've seen in the last 20 years or so. I don't think, AI is going to replace the human touch that is needed, the empathy that is needed nowadays. I don't think technology is it's gonna definitely support and make things, work. Let's just say it's going to work hand in hand with that human touch that's definitely needed in the market.
Yeah, I love that, Karen, and I totally agree with you. And Karen, going back to your journey, you've had a fascinating journey from media director at Havas, handling luxury brands, to leading customer success in SaaS. I wanted to ask you, I know you briefly touched on it, but can you go a little bit more in depth of what inspired your transition and how has the experience with like brands like Emirates and Hermes shape your approach to customer success? Because I'm sure that the customers have a big expectation.
Yeah, for sure. Handling global clients such as Emirates Airlines, such as Hermes, such as luxury brands, such as General Motors, I had to deal with a lot of global stakeholders. So I had more than one stakeholder that I need to, be it on a regional level or on a global level, as I've mentioned earlier. And it sort of shapes you. It sort of gives you an idea on the various objectives, the various priorities that each one of them has. It's we sort of fine tune how to talk to them, how to help them meet their objectives, and that paved the way for me to become a successful customer success manager. I realized that I like that. I like what's called consultative sales. uh, I was somehow doing it at back when I was a media director at the agencies, and it was really a smooth transition from there.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Incredible. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense that you were already handling such big brands and expectation there and how you fine tune that. I absolutely love that. And Carrie, as someone who has championed the use of predictive analysis in customer success, what potential do you see for AI? This is also going back to our AI conversation. So, what potential do you see for AI in data driven approaches in enhancing customer relationships and reducing churn?
So, as I mentioned earlier, it's mainly identifying patterns. So, understanding if there's a drop in adoption, understanding and capturing that early on. So, with AI, you can identify these patterns. You can tailor make the message. You can understand a certain, so you combine so many things in a more efficient way. You understand a certain industry. You understand the C levels that you're talking to. You understand a pattern. You understand their journey. You understand the time that's needed to close sort of a sales cycle. You combine it all together and you have your, if I can say, your secret recipe for success.
Yeah, I love that. And when it comes down to utilizing CS tools, have you had any sort of experience with any CS tools that are already using AI for predictive analysis?
Yes and no. So I usually do it on my own. I like to, keep on learning. The last, I'm not sure if I can mention, it's a bit confidential in terms of which tools we were using at
Yeah.
my previous role. Some of them, yes, had a little bit of AI, and the tool that, or I just say one of the products that Amplify was promoting and was supporting their clients with included an AI component in it for sure. So it's it was mainly linked to ChatGPT. So that was one
Okay.
of the that let's just say was interesting for our clients and for us to consider while presenting a certain solution. In terms of predictive analytics, mainly, I mean, the data is there, and it's just the way of analyzing it and the way of presenting it. So
Good.
that's an AI component that we embedded, but it was still work in progress.
Got it. Yeah.
How recent it is and how it's always evolving.
Yeah, for sure. I ChatGPT has changed my life. I sound so much better on my emails. So I'm all for AI, and I can't wait to see how much it can help more of our CS teams for them to be more proactive and more into raise their productivity so they can focus on more strategic efforts.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, Bias is someone that's deeply in the CS tech space, obviously, but I think there's just so much more development and opportunity, and even going beyond the simple, ChatGPT integrated features to the agents and some of the things that are coming up here down the line, and just in the next couple of months and quarters. I think we'll see a lot of that within the CS space and go to market in general, which is I think super exciting. Um, and maybe to that point, Karen, I was kind of thinking about looking at your background and the teams that you're running today, which are Middle East, I think you have South Asia, Turkey, very diverse, and even the Middle East. Sometimes I think people coming from outside of the Middle East just consider one market, but in reality, UAE is different than KSA, different than Jordan or Egypt, and so on and so forth. Every market is very individualized. They have their own kind of ways of doing things and their own specific trends or cultural things that come into play. And I was wondering, some of these leading teams across these different regions, how do you ensure that your team is adapting right to these different contextual trends or things staying ahead of the curve? I'm curious to hear a little bit more about that.
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. Actually, I always encourage my team to keep on learning, to stay updated on the latest trends, to sort of follow their clients' pages, be it on, we have a lot of useful resources out there. So it's up to us to go push ourselves, stay updated, understand what's happening around us. So, number one, I would say stay informed on industry trends. Number two, I would say, I would encourage them to have a problem sort of solving sort of an approach whenever there's something or they face a challenge, not to really, get stuck because of the information that they have, because of the relationship that they have, and always staying up to date, they will be able to solve it. They will be able to reach sort of a win-win situation. Also, like, it's very important to understand the team, like not only the clients that, or let's just say the markets that we're catering to, but the team also. Each and every individual comes from a different background, comes from a different culture, and that helps them build relationships. That helps them, because of their background, build certain rapport with the people that they're dealing with, the C levels that they're dealing with, and their clients.
Mm. Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah, that makes sense. And just kind of speaking about after that, do you also see from the kind of customer side, are the expectations on your team different from market to market in terms of what they expect from customer success or what you guys should deliver? Or is the expectation kind of similar across the board in terms of similar type of customers that may be different across segments, enterprise and SMEs? How does that kind of translate?
The process is pretty much the same, I would say. So a sales cycle is a sales cycle. Now, And the customer success, again, in my humble opinion, the customer success manager is the main point of contact, is the person who is representing the entire business, the entire company. So it's extremely important for that person to be credible, to be approachable, to have some sort of charisma is important here in our region, and to deliver value. And I always repeat, deliver value. So um, it's somehow different than the expectation that the client has when it comes to various departments. Various departments might not need to build rapport if because the rapport will be built by the customer success manager. Various departments, let's just say if you involve them or you ask for their contribution or collaboration on certain call, they might come and go for an hour maximum, or they might, provide their input, but they're not there with you or with with the client holding their hand throughout the journey. So yeah, the expectation somehow varies based on the role of that person facing the client.
Mm. Makes sense. Makes sense. Karen, I wanted to ask you a question because I love women. When I meet women who are in a leadership position and they're also mothers, because I'm a mother, obviously I empathize with your journey. And for me, it's always very impressive to see somebody that has had a really good career trajectory. And I wanted to ask you, how do you balance your career growth with the fact that also you are a mother as well? And that's a whole job on its own.
It's not easy, let me tell you. With it's fascinating how, like, when you become a working mother, let me just be specific, you sort of value the your time more. A minute becomes so valuable to you that you want to just make the most out of it. So the way I do it, the way I balance is I'm extremely organized. And I have a plan, be it for my personal day or my professional day, and I try and stick to it. And I sort of use I mean, there are so many techniques out there for you to focus on what's a priority, what's nice to have, what's something that you need to do. So a quadrant, I have somehow a quadrant that I stick to, and I try to, by the end of the day, go through it and make sure, okay, these are the things that I was supposed to do today. Did I do them? Okay, amazing. Then I can sleep at night properly, be it for my family or for my job. Yeah, it's not easy, but if you stick to a plan, then you're sort of there.
I love that. I love that. I love parents. We're all parents in this podcast right now. So I love how resourceful we are, how our imagination expands, and how we manage our time and we make every minute, every opportunity count towards a elongating.
It's also amazing because I was conversing the other day with a colleague of mine, and we were saying, like, once you become a parent, I'm not going to say mother because fatherhood is also amazing. Like, you become so creative, you become so witty, because when your kid is asking you a question, there's no way for you to, you need to think on your feet. And that's exactly what's also needed in the professional environment, in a sales role, for example, in a customer success role. You need to think on your feet when someone's, being a detractor on a certain call. But hey, you have your kids testing you all day long. So so that goes, perfectly well.
Yeah.
You're trained at home, so you can overcome the challenges at work.
Yeah. No, it's a great point. I was actually going to say, like, I think that there's so many things that as a parent, a lot of those skill sets translates really well to being in business and particularly in management, so dealing with being organized, things coming out of the blue, feelings, emotions, being really all the different things. I think it really kind of applies on both sides, so you can kind of transfer a lot of those skill sets, which is a really interesting way of thinking about it. And so this is just more a funny thing, an anecdote, but back in the U.S., there's this funny commercial where or it's a clip, I guess, more so, where they're interviewing someone and they're talking about the job that the person is applying for, and the interviewer is kind of talking about all the requirements of the job, And it's like you'll never get vacation. We expect you to work evenings, mornings, late nights. It's the whole laundry list of things, and the people
Yeah.
on the kind of the interview like, what's going on here? What kind of job is this? I'll never take this job. And then they're like, oh yeah, I mean, this what's the job? It's being a mom or it's being a dad. Like
Yeah.
that piece.
I know what you're
That
referring
yeah,
to.
you know which one. Yeah.
Oh,
Now I always
yeah.
think back to that one. It's like, yeah, that's literally that's how it's being a parent, and then you add career on top of that, especially for working mothers. It's extremely impressive. So that's hats off to you guys and every mom out there doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, to that point, let me ask you this, because sometimes people ask me like, well, I've been in management for 20 years. I've managed I don't know how many people, and they ask me, well, kids and this. I'm like, it's kind of the same thing. You have to be organized as people. You have to manage emotion, all that stuff. How do you do that? How do you, not specifically kids versus managing people, but how are you building really high performing teams? How are you kind of bringing some of that emotional intelligence into the equation with the skill set building and all the other things that goes into from the hard skills perspective?
Yeah. So those that have worked with my team members would definitely tell you this. So I like to create a very sort of comfortable environment that where everyone there's the open communication. So the way to do it is, every single morning when I go to the office, I check on every single person, make sure that everyone's fine, and then we start with what we have to do today, the tasks that we need to tackle. And for me to it's important to understand, again, I go back to the same thing, the relationships. As most probably you figured, I'm a strong believer of building relationships. And to do that is understanding the people's background, the culture, where they're coming from, um, the package that, shapes them into who they are today. So I would it's as a manager you get to, or as a leader you get to understand the strengths of your team members and the room for improvements. The way to lead a successful customer team is to empower people to deliver based on what they're strong with, based on the things that you know how to do. Maybe ask them to train others, and then the room for improvement areas is something that I would be working with them to enhance. That's one way. Another way is, understand their motivation, understand what made them want to apply for this role. And whenever there's something challenging, maybe life is not always rosy and beautiful. Sometimes you face a tricky situation. So link them back to that, keep them motivated. Work on a reward system, work on a collaboration system, work on, these are the main things usually that I like to have in my team.
I love that.
Yeah,
Great.
that's awesome. That's awesome. I think it's a great way of building also really nice team culture, cohesiveness, and kind of bringing everyone together is by building those relationships. And everyone is different. Every individual is different. They'll have their and kind of ways of thinking, they have their background, they have their context, their current state of where they are with everything, and managing through that is a really important part of being a good manager and leader. Um, and I have one kind of question, and then we're kind of going into what we call our lightning round at the end. But I was very curious for people now stepping into leadership positions out there in CS around the region, director CS, etc., whatever the role is. What are kind of the 2 or 3 pieces of advice that you would give them in terms of how to become a really successful CS or CX account manager, kind of in that space, leader in the Middle East? What would be the main tip that you'd give them?
So I'll just tell you a bit more about my values, which will answer on your question.
Yeah,
I
go ahead.
believe, I believe you need to have a really strong will to win, while having integrity. You need to, be true to yourself, true to your clients. You need to be scrappy. You need to, sometimes when needed, roll your sleeves up and then just dig in and not, rely on someone else to do it. You can definitely empower your team, but sometimes you're also needed to, be there, be present. Another thing would be, if I can say, be resourceful. Always be aware of the latest trends. Don't let it just, pass by without you understanding what it means. Understand the client industry. So yeah, will to win is extremely important. Integrity, being scrappy. These are the main things that I could think of right now.
No, those are great pieces of advice, I think, for any new and also existing leader that's in that role and developing and kind of continuing to improve. So, thank you for sharing those ideas and those really nice pieces of advice there. I think that'll be super helpful for new leaders, because I think one of the things we forget sometimes, once people get promoted to like managerial positions, could be a director, mid-level, higher up, there's very few trainings available. It's kind of like, well, you know the job, now figure this thing out. As you come into like more, CSM role, etc. There's usually training, program development. But as you become a manager and really the higher up you get, director, VP, and so on, and there's very little training. There's more so like throw you into the deep end, figuring it out. So getting advice from others that have done it successfully for a long time, I think is a great way of for your leaders out there to learn is kind of see what's been done, how, what's successful, what's not, and take that as your training program. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. Awesome, Karen. So it's been such a great conversation. I'm just kind of thinking about all the different things you've shared today. It's been awesome. Now what we're going to do is we're going to jump over to our final section that we like to do with our guests, where we have some quick questions and answers for you, sort of rapid fire here. So if you're ready, I'd love to jump in there and get a few questions to you.
Let's do it.
Awesome. All right. So we'll start us off easy here. The first question is simply, what's your favorite kind of content to consume right now? If it's book, podcast, whatever it might be.
Mm. Now your podcast is gonna be on my list. So
I appreciate that.
all right.
Yeah.
Other than that, I usually love to, I'm always active on LinkedIn. So you see me reading articles there. I like to consume, I like to read a lot. So I also follow McKinsey, Gartner. I follow Adweek just to understand a bit more about the media industry space, a campaign. So these are the main things that I like to follow and I like to read and stay updated on the latest trends. And of course, I would also follow my clients' pages, or I would have some Google alerts on industries and companies that I need to be in the know of.
That makes a lot of sense. Great. Yeah, and some of the McKinsey reports and stuff in particular, I really like as well. They have some insightful trends in certain industries and in technology as well, which is cool. Awesome. So next one up here, any favorite people to follow, take inspiration from, any recommendations there?
I'm in the tech space, so it has to be, you definitely heard of them. So I would go with Mark Zuckerberg. I would go with Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos. Recently, everyone was talking about Satya Nadella's, article about SaaS and his input on that. So yeah, also like recently I started following Tim Cook and Mark. That's around the big companies out there. A bit into customer success, if I can say, and sales roles and customer experience. I'm interested, and I like to read or to follow Mark Benioff, and I like also the CEO of Salesforce and the CEO of ServiceNow, Bill McDermott.
Oh,
Yep,
nice.
that's awesome. Very cool. Yeah, all of the big company ones there, and some of the CS district ones as well. So that's some good people for sure to follow. I like Satya in particular. I think he has really good content and a lot of good interviews and podcasts and stuff like that he does, which are really interesting to listen to. So great stuff there. And then my last question to you here, we're kind of a quarter into the year, but what are some of your favorite predictions for the rest of 2025? Do you have one, maybe top high level one that you really feel and believe in?
I'm most excited about virtual and augmented reality. And I want to see how it's gonna, the shift how that's gonna be embedded in our day-to-day life. What's gonna happen? Um, are we gonna stop using our mobile device? Like, if you read a couple of articles out there, are we gonna move into what they call, wearables? So this is something that I'm keeping a close. It's interesting for me. I wanna see it. I wanna see how it's gonna evolve, and how it's gonna also be incorporated in the professional environment.
Well, yeah, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think things are definitely moving really fast, so I look forward to what's gonna happen in that space. Karen, so I'm gonna ask you my favorite question that I get to ask during this round. What is one life philosophy you like to live by?
Oh, wow, that's an interesting question. That's a nice question. I would say I love the Japanese concept of ikigai. So do what you love, understand what the world needs, combine it, and so you can, while doing what you love, also get paid for that, your vocation, get paid for what you're delivering, and so a combination of that concept is really what I carry in my day-to-day life. I try and live by it, and I try and present it or represent it in my life.
Yeah,
That's really a philosophy that's close to my heart.
I love the ikigai concept. It's incredible. It's so amazing. And Karen, on the weekends when you are not working, what are you doing on the weekends with your family? Do you get some time off for yourself? And for anybody that is listening to us right now, if they're wanting to connect with you, what is the best way of doing so?
During the weekends, I'm mainly with my family. So now that the weather is nice in Dubai, you'll see me most probably at some nearby parks. We try and enjoy the weather as much as possible and make the most out of the sun. The nice sun, not the furnace. So, yeah. And then for those who would like to reach me, I'm always active on LinkedIn. I'll be more than happy to connect with like-minded professionals.
Amazing, Karen. Well, it was so great to have you in this show. I love every single woman that we have gotten to interview so far. So I'm excited for a lot of people to be able to come inside your mind and get to understand who Karen is. So yeah, thank you so much for carving out the time to be on the show.
Thank you for the
Yes.
opportunity. I really enjoyed our conversation, and good luck. And I'm looking forward to seeing other professionals being with you on these podcasts.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. It's such a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
See you
you.
on here soon again. Thank you.
We want to thank our sponsors for supporting the Sussex Revenue Podcast. RevSetter is the #1 customer success and management platform in the Middle East region, offering global capabilities mixed with regional solutions that helps your CS, account management, and go-to-market teams 10x efficiency, improve customer experience, and turbocharge customer retention rates.
And thank you to Medlify, a leading marketplace. Workers and employers in the healthcare space needs and demands meet to create benefits for both sides. Thank you again, and we'll see you next time.